Welcome to Canadian Football League Weekly, presented by the World of Football. Each week, we're going to be here recapping the games played north of the border in the CFL, and we'll also look ahead to next week's games. Our mission here is to educate American football fans on the teams and players in the CFL in the hopes that you will come to love this league as much as we do. I'm Randy Snow, and with me as always is my son Adam.
Hey, if you're a football fan, you're eating real good because Canadian football has been awesome. We got football all across this great globe of ours. Very excited to delve into some action north of the border, Randy. Why don't we get into it?
Yes, we're going to start with scores from week 3, and we're kicking it off on Thursday night with the Montreal Alouettes defeating the Edmonton Elks 38-28. This was a battle between quarterbacks Davis Alexander and Trey Ford. Montreal led this game 14-3 at the end of the first quarter and was up 24-6 at halftime. Edmonton was shut out in the third quarter, 4-0. But Edmonton made a comeback in the fourth quarter, outscoring Montreal 22-10. However, they could not overcome the lead Montreal had built up in the first half. Davis Alexander suffered a non-contact leg injury in the third quarter of this game and was replaced by one of our favorite quarterbacks, McLeod Bethel Thompson, for the remainder of the game. Did you get to see any of this game?
I watched most of the first half, and I caught the highlights in the second. Montreal's so good.
Yes.
I'm always pulling for Edmonton though to get their stuff together. Get their poop in a group, as I like to say. And man, they show flashes of it, but they just never can quite put it together. But I mean, they went up against a great team in the Alouettes. I believe I tweeted out during this game. I like to sit and I watch these games with my fiance, and she doesn't know a whole lot about football, but she'll surprise you every now and then. And I'll always go, "Hey, do you know what two teams these are?" before the announcers ever say a team name. And she's like, "Well, I believe Edmonton's the Elks, right?" I'm like, "Yep, good job. Holy smokes, yep, you remembered." And then she went off and tried to list off all the different birds that she could think of, not once naming an alouette. I believe we got mourning doves and pigeons before we got anywhere near it. And I said, "Oh, it's an alouette." And she goes, "What the hell is an alouette?" She had to look it up. So,
but she's trying.
She's trying. She's doing great. She'll surprise you every now and then. But no, the Alouettes though are so stinking good. I mean, I got them up there. We don't have CFL power rankings on this show, but if we were to, boy, it'd be tough to not keep these guys at number 1 or number 2.
Yeah, they were good most of last year. They lost to Toronto in the playoffs last year. They should have been in the Grey Cup, but they weren't. But they've been a good team the last couple of years, so it looks like that is going to continue right on through this season. We're going to talk about some stats now from the game. Montreal quarterback Davis Alexander was 20 of 24 for 254 yards and 3 touchdowns. Backup quarterback McLeod Bethel Thompson completed 6 of 8 passes for 77 yards. Running back Sean Thomas Erlington ran the ball 11 times for 68 yards and a touchdown, while wide receiver Tyson Philpott had 8 catches for 96 yards and a touchdown. For Edmonton, quarterback Trey Ford was 27 of 36 passing for 308 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. He was sacked 4 times in this game. That was a big difference, getting sacked 4 times. But he also ran 3 times for 31 yards and had a rushing touchdown. Wide receiver Curly Gittens Jr. had 5 catches for 95 yards and a touchdown. We love Trey Ford here. We know he's got a lot of potential. He hasn't been able to put it all together just yet this season. But we're hoping that in the next few weeks he will, and the Elks will get their first win of the season.
Yeah, hopefully. We'll have to wait and see. We talked about that last year too. Whenever he'd get a shot, he could never quite put together the full game yet. And boy, if you're the Elks, I mean, when is the point you've waited long enough? Yeah. I hate to say that because Trey Ford's great. I know these quarterbacks at the CFL will jump around from team to team, and maybe he needs a different home. I'm not saying get rid of him right now, Edmonton. I'm just saying, you got to start looking a little bit ahead. If Trey Ford is as talented as he is, could you maybe get somebody else and start getting some other weapons in exchange for him? Edmonton just needs so much still. They're still kind of retooling that team, that franchise. But like I said, they also were up against the Alouettes. That doesn't help. they've had a tough start to their schedule this year.
Yeah, well, it seems like in the last couple of years, Trey Ford would get on a hot streak, and then he'd have a couple of bad games, and they'd pull him and they'd put their backup in, and they wouldn't really let him work through it. So I don't know what's going on there, but he does show a lot of potential, and I think uh, Edmonton should at least ride that horse through the end of the season and see what they've got before they make any kind of decision, because he is a good quarterback, and
He is.
he needs the right fit. Maybe Edmonton isn't the right fit. I don't know, but we shall see on that. Game notes from this game: quarterback Davis Alexander is now 7-0 as a starter in the CFL. So congratulations to him. I know he's been in and out of the starting lineup, and I guess he's in full time this year. So right now, in his career, he's 7-0. So good for him. All
He's
right,
looked good. He's looked good in that starting position, by the way.
Yeah, yes,
I
he
don't know.
has.
Have you? Yeah.
He's looked
And have
really
you heard
good.
anything on his injury? Like, I know McLeod's a good guy to have on the team too. But I mean, the way
Yeah,
Alexander's been playing, I mean,
yeah. I haven't heard anything yet about how severe his injury is. If he'll be back next week or what, we'll just have to wait and see. But at this point, on a Monday night when we're recording this, I've not really heard anything or read anything yet. All right, let's move on to the Friday night game, which saw the Saskatchewan Roughriders beat our beloved Toronto Argonauts 39-22. This was a battle between quarterbacks Trevor Harris and Nick Arbuckle. Saskatchewan was up 17-10 at halftime. Saskatchewan wide receiver Dante Myers had a 70-yard touchdown reception to start the second half and gave them a 24-10 lead. Toronto came within 3 points at the end of the third quarter and were trailing 24-21. Toronto was down 32-24 with under 2 minutes to play, and they scored with 23 seconds left in the game. A 2-point conversion tied the game at 32-32. And at this point, I thought, all right, we are going to overtime. We got some extra CFL action tonight. But it wasn't to be. On the ensuing kickoff, Saskatchewan's Mario Alford returned the kickoff 99 yards for a touchdown, giving Saskatchewan a 39-32 win. And on that final play, Toronto only had 11 players, not 12, on the field for that kickoff return play. Who knows what would have happened if they could have stopped them and had the right number of guys out there. For those of you who don't know, the Canadian Football League has 12 players on a team, not 11. So they only lined up with 11. He ran ran to the end zone. So man, what a crushing defeat for us Toronto fans.
hey, I know it does suck for us Toronto fans. At least we got that sweet bling, right? We at least got those replica rings in the mail, right? Wonder Twin powers, activate. Randy. All right. Form of a Grey Cup trophy.
Shape of a pail of water.
There you go. All right. So no, you talked a couple weeks ago about how the CFL kickoff does it right. And here it goes biting our team in the butt.
Yeah.
I mean, they got to put the right number of guys out there, but it bit them in the butt. But I mean, this is what an exciting way to end the game. Look, it crushes me being a Toronto fan.
Yes.
But I've also kind of been pulling for Saskatchewan just because, like, I don't know, they've been a team that's always kind of been on the cusp of being like in the Grey Cup the last few years. They're a team that showed so much promise and they just kind of fall apart at the end of the year.
Yep.
So I'm kind of secretly pulling for Saskatchewan. But man, what a heck of an ending to this game.
Yeah.
Like I said, other than the fact that it hurts my Toronto fandom a little bit, but as a CFL fan, what an exciting! This is what you want. You want to play like that, like the way that game ended. Toronto tying it up, then the kickoff happening, and you're just it blew up on social media. A lot of plays. I think I saw YouTube. I saw it on X. Like it was all over the place. So people were talking about it, and hopefully more people getting aware of how fun and great the CFL actually is. To come down to the end of a game like that is the kind of publicity the CFL needs, as opposed to last year when we saw how a missed field goal was like not the publicity you wanted. But this is what makes the CFL great. I love it so much.
Yeah,
other than the fact that it hurt my team.
Yeah, this was a soul crushing defeat for me as a Toronto fan. But I must say, this probably was the game of the week in my mind, anyway, because you had Toronto fighting and scratching to get get to the tied score, with 23 seconds left in the game, and it just wasn't enough. So,
I mean, I
but
love
yeah,
that they showed
check out the
life.
highlights.
I was starting to get worried about him the last couple of weeks. Yeah, it sucks they starting off 0-3, but the fact I saw some life out of him this week, maybe if they don't return that kickoff return, they get the 12 guys out there, like you said. Maybe the end of the game is different. Maybe they go to overtime, and maybe it's a
Yep.
different story. Maybe
Yeah.
Saskatchewan still punches it in. We don't know,
Who knows?
but I like seeing the fight out of the Argonauts, and I hope they can turn this ship around. Pun not intended, but maybe intended. It's just kind of sitting there when you're a Toronto fan. It's kind of right there in your lexicon.
Yeah. All right, let's talk some stats from this game. Saskatchewan quarterback Trevor Harris was 13 of 17 passing for 234 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Running back A.J. Olette, man, he's a beast. He ran 17 times for 91 yards and scored a touchdown. Wide receiver Dante Myers caught four catches for 125 yards and 2 touchdowns, including that 70-yarder that he had. And then for Toronto, quarterback Nick Arbuckle was 26 of 33 passing for 259 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Wide receiver Kevin Mittal, I think is how you pronounce his name, Mital, had 7 catches for 98 yards and a touchdown.
Yep. I mean, I like seeing Arbuckle look a little better this week. I feel like he, not that he looked terrible the last couple of weeks, but man, I was hoping for a little bit more out of him.
Yeah.
Glad he could step up. But Trevor Harris, I mean, he's been a good one to watch
Yes.
the last 3 weeks too. And that Saskatchewan defense too. They got some guys on there. I know you didn't really bring up any defensive stats.
No.
Man, I love watching that defense play. I know this one, Toronto got some scores in, but I still like watching that Saskatchewan defense.
Yeah. The game notes that I've got from this game: second year wide receiver for Saskatchewan, Joe Robustelli, is the grandson of NFL Hall of Famer Andy Robustelli, who played with the New York Giants and the LA Rams from 1951 to 1964. And he was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1971. They talked about that quite a bit when he came into the game last night. I had no idea that he was playing up there, but he's trying to make a name for himself in the CFL. Good luck to him. And I just thought that was an interesting tidbit from this game. And Toronto kicker, I say Lyram. I hear him say Liram. Maybe I'll go with Liram. I don't know. Liram Hiralahu. He kicked his 300th field goal in this game. I think he had 3, and it might have been the middle one that was the number 300. But congratulations to him. He's been around a long time. Really good kicker. 300 field goals in a career. That's awesome.
That's 300 more than the two of us combined. So you're doing some good stuff up there.
Yes. All right. Time out here for a quick commercial. We also have an audio podcast that we do every week. It's called This Week in the World of Football. And tomorrow night, no, not tomorrow night, a week from tomorrow, we're going to be doing our 400th episode on Canada Day, July 1st.
Live.
It's going to be live. It's going to be at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to have some special guests with us, including one from Montreal, a good friend of ours.
That's right.
And a guy from Japan and a few other people.
Yeah, we're going to let me go down the list, Randy. We got Tim Capper of the Alouettes Flight Deck podcast, and he does some arena football stuff as well. He'll be on the show. We got Greg St. James to talk about Japan football. We got our buddy Trey from Off the Wall to talk a little indoor football. And then we got our wild card, our buddy Royce from Viking Wax Press to talk a plethora of spring football and maybe even a little NFL, maybe some uniform stuff with him. We always like to talk about the aesthetics of football. So we're setting up for a good time, or we're setting up for a train wreck. We don't know quite yet, but tune in on Canada Day, everybody, 6 p.m. Eastern, next week on July 1st.
Yes. All right. Let's continue with the last 2 games. 2 games on Saturday. It was the Ottawa Red Blacks over the Calgary Stampeders, 20-12. It was a battle between quarterbacks Dustin Crum and Vernon Adams Jr. It was a rainy day. Did you see much of this game at all?
I was a little busy. We had a lot of stuff going on Saturday, but I tried to catch what I could. But I'm glad you got these detailed notes to help me piece a lot of stuff together, because I'd like tune in and out, and I'd be like, okay, catch a little bit of the game, tune out, come back in.
Yeah, no, you couldn't really tell when they had the wide view of the screen of the field, but when they zoomed in, you could tell it was raining. and the field was
Yeah.
soggy and slippery, and it was just a mess, and it really affected the way these two teams played. Ottawa was up 3-2 after the first quarter. They just couldn't get anything going offensively, and the score at halftime, Ottawa was leading 6-2. So the first half was pretty much a wash, and uh, the second half was a little bit better. The Red Blacks led 12-9 after three quarters. At this point, it was all field goals, a safety, I think, maybe a rouge here and there. And that's all they had. And the only touchdown of the game was scored by Ottawa with about 5 minutes remaining in the game. Um, and Ottawa won their first game of the season by the score of 20-12. This was a bit of a surprise. I didn't think Ottawa would go on the road to Calgary and come out with a win in this game, but I think the weather helped a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. You always hate to see a ugly game like this, but you got to give credit where credit's due. Ottawa team who's still playing with a backup quarterback, with Drew Brown still out with his injury.
Yeah, yeah.
So credit to them. And you know, you hate it when weather, like I said, you hate it when weather affects a game. You really do. And I feel you, because I was watching some other stuff at the same time, and I forget what sport it was. We were at a bar over the weekend, and yeah, when you're zoomed out, you can't tell it's raining. But the moment they zoom in, because that high def, man, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it looked good, and you just kind of wondered to yourself, why are these guys not moving the ball up and down the field? Well, it's because it was soggy, wet, slippery, and just a mess. Handoffs were bad. People were dropping the ball, or ball was spitting out of their hands. It was
Yeah.
rough. Let's talk about some stats from this game. I think this will show you what was going on. Ottawa quarterback Dustin Crum was 9 of 22 passing for 111 yards and a touchdown. He also ran for 64 yards. Uh, Running back Daniel Adeboboye had 96 yards rushing and scored the only touchdown of the game on a 17-yard reception, basically a catch and run, for the only touchdown of the game. Running back William Stanback had 82 yards rushing. And I was thinking about this the other day. I don't know if I've ever seen two running backs in one game rush for 100 yards or more. Well, here you had Adeboboye with 96 for Ottawa, and William Stanback for Ottawa with 82 yards rushing. So the ground game was everything here because of the weather, and that was a big deal. Khalil Pimpleton from Central Michigan University, one of our favorite players up there, led all receivers with 2 catches for 31 yards for Ottawa. That's incredible.
Well, that's your
Moving
leading
on.
receiver. That shows you that
Yeah.
the weather had an impact on this one.
Yeah. Well, I think somebody had more than 2 catches, but they didn't have 31 yards. So he had the most, receiving yards on 2 catches. Wow. For Calgary, quarterback Vernon Adams Jr. was 17 of 32 passing for 218 yards, no touchdowns, and 1 interception. Running back Dedrick Mills ran 15 times for 96 yards. So there's almost a third running back in this game that had 100 yards rushing or close to it. And no touchdowns for him, like I said. And then wide receiver Clark Barnes had 2 catches for 61 yards and no touchdowns in the game.
Oh, he should have been your game's leading receiver. What are you talking about, game's leading receiver?
No, he was the leading receiver on the team for Ottawa.
Okay.
Pimpleton. I'm just talking for Ottawa. He was the leading receiver for the winning team. A couple of game notes. Dustin Crum replaced Matthew Schiltz, who didn't perform very well last week, and so that's how he got the start this week. And Crum, this was his first start in 2 years. It seemed like a few years ago he was always in there, whether he was coming in on short yardage or filling in for the injured starter. His name was everywhere a couple years ago, and all of a sudden he came out of nowhere, and I thought, wow, is he still in the league? Well, I guess so.
I can't believe it's been 2 years since he started, because I could have swore maybe last year, and I could be getting it mixed up, but I could have swore he was started a game last year. Maybe it was just he filled in for portions here and there.
Yeah.
Well, last year was a long year, okay? So
yeah, they were talking to him on the sideline, and I think the reporter said, it's been 700 and some odd days since you started a game. So that was 2 years ago. But congratulations to him. He looked good in that game, and I don't know if Drew Brown will be back next week or not. I'm not sure what his status is, so we'll wait and see on that too. But
hey, to help him, Dustin Crum getting him that first win though, that's important though.
Yes,
get the Red Blacks in the right direction.
All right, and the final game north of the border on Saturday evening, it was the Winnipeg Blue Bombers over the British Columbia Lions, 27-14. This was a battle between quarterbacks Zach Collaros and Jeremiah Masoli. Winnipeg was up 7-0 after one. They were up 17-3 at halftime. They led 20-6 after three quarters, and Winnipeg was just in control this entire game and won a nice 27-14 game on the road to remain undefeated this year. They were in the Grey Cup last year, and it looks like they haven't lost a step this year.
No, Zach Collaros, this is his first start of the year after the one game suspension.
Yes.
So, I mean, you like to see him back in the lineup, and I mean the stat line's not super flashy. I mean, 18 of 25, 179 yards. He threw 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. So yeah, he's got to get back in a little bit of a groove. But once he starts getting back into it, this Winnipeg team's already dangerous.
Yeah.
Once Calero starts, getting back, back on, and he's starting to throw those 300-yard games, the league should be on notice.
Yeah.
And if we're doing power rankings, even with Caleros, at like, I don't know what you want to call him, he was playing like at an 80% type game today on Saturday. At 100%, this is the best team in the league. I say, he's got to knock some rust off. It's been a while since he's played, so
right.
Once he gets back in that full groove, 100%, like he's on top of things, this could easily be the top team in the league. Right now, I think you got to go Montreal and Winnipeg. For me personally, if these two teams were to play tomorrow, I'd probably be taking Montreal. But be a heck of a game, though. I tell you, I'd watch the crap out of that one.
Yeah, early on, those are the two teams to keep an eye on, Winnipeg and Montreal, at least early in the season so far.
Yep. With Saskatchewan as that dark horse. I'm just saying.
All right, some more stats from this game for Winnipeg. Wide receiver Carrick Wheatfall had 6 catches for 86 yards, no touchdowns. And I mentioned this, kicker Sergio Castillo was 2 for 2 on field goals, but his longest one was from 55 yards. And that's pretty darn good in the CFL. I mean, you're at the 55-yard line. You're right in the middle of the field, and
that's midfield.
Yeah, sure. The goalposts are on the goal line, but still, that's a 55-yard field goal, and pretty good. All right, for BC, quarterback Jeremiah Masoli was 25 of 44 passing for 281 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions. Wide receiver Justin McInnes had 9 catches for 94 yards, no touchdowns. And wide receiver Keon Hatcher had 6 catches for 92 yards, but no touchdowns. This was Zach Collaros's. That's weird to say. Zach Collaros. For Zach Collaros, this was his 200th career win and his 50th career win with Winnipeg. So congratulations to him. And Nathan Rourke dressed for this game, but he didn't play because he's still recovering from that injury he suffered last week. I guess he was just there in case of an emergency, but they wanted to hold him out, so they did. But this was a pretty good game, even though Winnipeg was just unstoppable.
Was it though?
If you're a Winnipeg fan, if you're a Winnipeg fan, this was a great game and a great win.
Hey, it's always like that for one team, okay?
Yeah. Yep. And then on by this week, week 3, the Hamilton Tiger Cats. All right, so looking at the standings after 3 weeks in the CFL, in the East, it's Montreal with a 3-0 record, Ottawa Redblacks at 1-2, Hamilton Tiger Cats at 0-2, and Toronto Argonauts at 0-3. And then in the West, it's the Saskatchewan Roughriders at 3-0, Winnipeg Blue Bombers at 2-0, Calgary Stampeders at 2-1, BC Lions at 1-2, and the Edmonton Elks at 0-2. And looking ahead to next week, for week 4, we got the same kind of setup: a Thursday night, Friday night game, and then 2 Saturday games. So on Thursday night, it's going to be Edmonton at Winnipeg. It's going to be on Friday night, it's going to be Montreal at Hamilton. Saturday, you've got BC at Saskatchewan in the first game, and Toronto at Ottawa in the nightcap. And as far as being able to watch those games here in the
nightcap, you got it as a Sunday afternoon or a Sunday game.
Do it? Oh, maybe I put those two back.
That Toronto Ottawa game will be Sunday at 7:00 at night. So
so I was right then. Well, thank you for making me think I messed up.
You did mess up because you said they were a Saturday. You said there was 2 Saturday games. So
Yeah, I said the nightcap on Saturday. Oh, I wrote
no,
down
this is a
Sunday.
nightcap on Sunday.
Oh, it is Sunday. Man, oh man.
Man, oh man. What would you
Okay,
do if I wasn't here? You'd be giving
so it's
so
not
much
the
Canadian football misinformation.
so it's not the same as last week. It's
We're trying
got
to
a Friday.
educate people, Randy, not confuse them.
Well, we're doing a little both. Okay, so we got a Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, and a Sunday night game to run on
Set your
a
calendars
Sunday night.
accordingly, everybody.
Now, all these games are in the States here are going to be broadcast on CBS Sportsnet, with the exception of the Friday night game. You'll have to catch that on CFL Plus, but that's not a big deal. You just go to
No.
CFL.ca to their official website, and they when the game's ready to start, you'll find it and just click on it, and it'll have you put in your name and your email address, and basically that's it. You're good for the season. You don't have to do that again the rest of the years. They know who you are, they know where you are, and uh, you're in. So it's
Easy
been
peasy
great.
lemon squeezy, as we
Yeah,
like to
it's
say down
what,
here in the
about
States.
two or 3 years they've been doing the CFL Plus, at least 2, if
Yeah,
not
2 or
3.
3 now. Yeah, it's
But
been great. I love
yeah,
CFL Plus.
yeah, it's been great ever since the start. So yeah, it's well worth it.
As long as you can handle the same 3 commercials back to back to back, like I think you'll be fine.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of repetitive things on a streaming service like that,
But it's
but
got some banger
worth it.
music though, doesn't it? Like if you just sat there, just like
I know
you don't even have to
it's
play the commercial. Just play the "We'll be back soon" with some of that
yeah,
music in the background. I'm just like, all right, like I can dig this. You check your phone for a little bit, and
yeah. You'll hear that music when you lay your head down after the game and try to go to sleep, and that music will just be going through your mind. Oh my.
it's awesome. Keep it up, CFL Plus. All right, you don't have a news story on the rundown, but I wanted to bring up this, which I'm sure we're going to talk about on our weekly podcast tomorrow. But the Stampeders have unveiled their
Oh yeah,
Stampede Bowl trophy.
that's right.
Uh,
Yes,
what do you think of this? I thought this was a pretty neat looking trophy. We were
it's
wondering if they
cool.
were going to have something special for this,
Yeah,
and they delivered. Thank you, Canada, for delivering, or the Stampeders specifically, because
yeah.
this trophy looks cool as heck.
It's a cool looking trophy, and that's going to be up for grabs every year now, I guess, from now on. For years, the Calgary Stampeders had avoided having a home game when the actual Calgary Stampede rodeo kicks off, and now the two are embracing each other. So this is going to be the game that kicks off the Stampeders week or weekend. I guess it's like a week-long thing they have up there. But yeah, now they're going to have a kickoff game to start the whole Calgary Stampede. So I think it's awesome, and the trophy looks pretty cool.
Heck yeah, it does. This is one of the sleekest looking trophies I've seen in a while. And you know me, I love my rivalry trophies. Yeah, we got a bunch down here in college football. But the fact that we got the Banjo Bowl and now the Stampede Bowl up, we need more bowls up there, CFL. I'm just saying, give me every bowl. Like, give me every
Yeah.
matchup. Well, maybe not everyone, because then it's less special. But you know what I mean. Give me more. Like, these are great.
How about the poutine bowl? Do you think they need a poutine bowl up there?
Well, with that, everybody, we've run out of time. Well, we're going to move on. Probably best we don't bring this subject up. Randy and poutine, we could be here for another half an hour.
Yeah, really. Okay, that's all the time we've got for this week. Tune in again next week when Adam and I will review all the games played up north of the border in the CFL. We'll be here throughout the CFL regular season and the postseason, as well as the 112th Grey Cup game, which will be played in Winnipeg this year on November 16th. Check out highlights of all the games in the CFL each week at cfl.ca/videos. They got complete game reviews, and they've got individual play reviews. So get your fill of all those replays. If you need help, we can assist in helping you pick out a team to follow this year. If you don't have a particular team that you care about, let us know. We'll lean you towards one team or another. It's all fine.
Yeah.
You'll be surprised just how much fun the CFL can be, and it is. It really is. If you have any questions about the CFL, you can ask us in the comments. If we don't have the answer, we know some people up in Canada who could probably answer that for you. So let us know. Let us know your questions. And remember, folks, some people may love football more than we do, but nobody, and I mean nobody, loves more football than the two of us guys sitting here in Kalamazoo, Michigan, talking about the CFL every week. Until then, I'm Randy Snow.
And I'm going to represent this bling every chance I get.
You're not the only
Oh,
one.
you got yours too?
There, I
Okay.
still got it. All right.
All right.
And we'll see you all next week, somewheres around the 55-yard line.
Wonder Twin powers activate again.